Chad here. Made some recent changes to DevNitro. I wanted to give it a shot. I figured I'd record myself as I did it here. So just going to bring up DevNitro, telling it, hey, I'm working on project 13, which is this project right here I've already created called Game Tracker. And expecting 662 is our conversation here. So that's good. So it's next number that I thought it'd be. So I'm going to say I want to create a game backlog tracker app. For now, let's see, users should be able to specify games in their library as well as games in their wish list. Need to be able to specify let's see, platform and game hours, and if they played it, or if they started it, maybe they started it, completed it, yet to play, etc. So use color scheme with, let's go with Xbox green and a complementary color that isn't, let's see, purple or yellow. Yeah. All right. Looks like I might, yeah, looks like it's gonna stress out here. About why it's stressing. Well, I'm having a hard time with the tool here. There you go. There you go. Now you're doing it. Cool. So it looks like it's gonna go now. In fact, let me just open up here. So ECD YouTube DNGT. All right, it's cool. Now we actually have some stuff here. We'll go ahead and say Game Vault. Name the Game Vault. That's cool. We'll open that up as well while it's working. Looks like I had a problem reading the file. That's fine. All right, so we're going to bring over the Visual Studio project here that's working on. Okay, cool. Like grabbing the wait list information, the controller. What did I try to read here under templates? Yeah, there's a file under there, but there you go. Schema and tables. That's what you're looking for earlier. That's good. What are you trying to find this time? Site dist. Okay. Cool. So we'll let it continue to work here. So it's actually creating the, it's actually creating the SQL files, right? Kind of lost my train of thought there. So it streamed all that out and actually created games table, game stats class, platform, game list type, create the game object in the domain, right? So we can actually take a look. Okay. Cool. So it's done with the domain bit. Doesn't tell it, feel free to use subagents, but it may do it on its own here. Let's see. So it add in the games schema. Add in games. It's interesting that it's not doing alphabetical order, but that's all right. Yeah, so basically it's going through and it is generating the code as we described using the actual Blazor on the front end, and of course all .NET on the back end. Both the application and the client has database store using Dapper. It is using a Global Code Technologies framework that I have. It's licensed for DevNitro to use. And so it's using that as kind of the core for all the authentication and logging and emails and payments and everything else like that. Yeah. So it's going through and it's actually creating the controller, has this client service. I'm assuming it probably created the server-side service up here. It did. So server-side service has a client-side service, has a controller of the client-side service calls. Yep. So it actually finished up the back end. Now it's updating the startup. Surprised it's not using multi-edits, but that's all right. Doing the dependency injection on here. Updating. It's going to put in dark mode for default, so that's cool. And you're going to use a vertical menu as default versus a horizontal, so that works. So we'll see. I'll come back and see how it cooks here. But as it stands, I thought it may create some issues. Basically, as it stands here, since I gave it the project, any issues I tell it to create or anything I want it to do, I'll do here. But it's just going to kind of do its first flow. And something I could have done was actually created an issue first, had it work against that issue, and actually have it work on an epic with a bunch of different stories and said, hey, you're not done until you go through all this. But of course, I just kind of like, hey, let's do a game backlog tracker, right? So it really wasn't putting a whole lot of thought into features and functionalities of this. But if you did, then you could actually start again as an epic, coming in here and say, hey, I want to create an epic. And by creating the epic, underneath that, I could then create stories underneath those epics and then tasks under the stories and ultimately to-dos under that. But yeah, as it stands now, it's writing out the different Razor files. So obviously create the wish list file that I told it, hey, we want a wish list as well. So that's good. Good. Okay, so it did a multi-edit here. It's interesting to me that it didn't do multi-edits earlier. And so it did a multi-edit in our theme CSS. And so it modified. So it looks like it's going to be using green and deep teal as a secondary color, which is good. Because I want a complementary color, but not purple and not yellow. So anyway, so it did a multiple changes, 4 different changes in that one file at one time. So that's good. And made a game library page. So it'll be good to kind of look at that. And a game wish list. So again, we can actually go over here and take a look. And if I go here to my client, I would expect that shouldn't have the pages, but we should have game here. And we actually have our game library and game wish list, that is made. So we'll see that in action here. But you can actually see it added in persistence. So using .NET 10 persistence, that's good. And so now it's going to actually do the game form and the home dashboard. So that's cool. It's writing those. And it looks like maybe it's writing some CSS, probably like a home CSS Razor, be my guess. Could be doing the game form CSS Razor or Razor CSS or both of them. We'll see what's happening here. Because basically as it's writing, it's kind of streaming out from the LLM of what's happening. And so this details in this, TUI here, the terminal UI, allows me to see exactly what's being streamed. Of course, in the main chat, we just say, hey, we're still working and have, how long this thing's been running. So we've been at this for, 8 minutes and a half here. And as it's continuing to write out to the file system, once it's done, then I'll actually get a nice, tool. Sometimes we can see the tool up front while it's doing that. Other times, depending on how the LLM streams it, the actual web chat UI can see it up front and say, hey, it's writing this, it's pending, and other times you don't really get to see it until it's done. So these are things I'm trying to make the experience a little bit better, but it kind of depends on the LLM and how it's working. This is actually using Opus 4.6 behind the scenes, but I have this working with Codex, have it working with Ollama locally. Ollama works, but it's not the smartest stuff. I'm using the GPT OSS model, and it's not the brightest. So it'll still do tool calls, it'll still do all this stuff. It's just obviously the context window is smaller, and it can't run for as long periods of time. But it can definitely, if you have it a very well defined, to-do item, then it can knock it out even locally. So, and it's been good to kind of test that, because I figure if I can make things work well with an unintelligent model, then working with intelligent models is that much easier. That's much better. All right, so looking at the layout stuff, and cool. So again, it decided to change from the horizontal menu items that I have as an option to a vertical menu. I think it's going through and just making sure that's truly going to use the vertical menu. And again, I saw it change it from light theme to dark theme, and it's confirming that it'll actually be dark theme when it kicks off. So that's cool. And now it's actually building the thing. So here we are, a few minutes in, and it's building. Looks like so I tried to build it getting the tail here, but that's not valid in PowerShell. So it's probably going to do it again here with, okay, so select that last object, or if it did tail with capital T, that'd likely work as well. Home, reading game store. So obviously I had some build errors because it read those files. Let's see. Yeah, so I had 7 errors when it tried to build it. So now it's going to go and fix the stuff real quick. All right, so let's see. Okay. Oh, I tried to do an edit here and it failed. Edit it again. Yeah, is that what it failed on originally? It was the game library. Yeah. So it failed on the game library and then on the game wish list. And then it came back through, edited the game library correctly, and then edited the game wish list correctly. Good. And so by default, we say errors or warnings or errors, especially null reference. And so it's going through and it's fixing where it tried to compile. It's like, oh, it's not working. So it's going through and say that this games count needs to actually be, games count or 0. So you don't get null reference exceptions. So it's building again here. Let's see what did work this time. 3 errors, so down from 7 to 3. Sorry. Cool. Make some modifications to home. Wish list again. Again, just making that nullable since that's what it is. So it built it again, and this time it had 2 errors. So it got rid of one of the errors, but still had 2. So it sees that it needs to be using ID, not user ID for something. So the requester. So it tried to use requester user ID instead of requester ID. That's how it knows who is making the call. So who the user is that's trying to get the games in this case. So again, all authentication and claims and roles and stuff is all built in here. So that's good. Oh, still has 2 errors though. Oh, because I said the first edit didn't apply, so I tried to do it, but the tool call fell, but did this time. That's good. And the second one, same thing. So it wasn't setting the requester, or again, it was a null references, and hey, requester could have been null, but it knows that when it calls the requester at the top to populate, then requester is going to be set. Otherwise, we wouldn't get that far down the method, and so it's doing the bang operation on the end of there, saying it's not nullable, or it's not null at that point, rather. Okay, so it actually did the database migration by itself. That's fine. So it's using SQLite, which is fine. So let's see, what did it change the name of? So we're up here, and so it should be like app data. Here it is. So Game Vault DB, good. Trying to make sure it's using the right database names for stuff. Let me just minimize that again. Looks like it's done processing. Yep. All right. Game Vault, game backlog tracker is fully built out. And what's currently 3:17. I started this at 3:02. So, okay, 15 minutes. Says it's done. Tells you my colors here are green and deep teal. Using dark mode. Did the database, created the database stuff for me. Cool. Tells you about my application layer, my client layer. All right. So, in fact, I'll just run it that way. I was going, well, I'll run through Visual Studio. I'll just hit Control F5 here and let it come up over here. Cool. Uh-oh. So we already got some errors here. Let's see. Cannot provide value. Okay, so it didn't actually register game service on the client side, it looks like. And of course, I can modify that, but might as well get Opus to fix its problem here. So I will just, that should be sufficient. So I just pasted that in, and oh, I thought it was client side was messed up. It was saying server side. Let me see, what's the error? Let me check the error again. Okay, yeah, game service. So even though it's game client home, in the game there's not, it's not registering the game service. I don't know. I think it's missing the client side. We'll see. See if we found that. There's definitely server side was wrapping there. Okay. Yeah. So it didn't actually add it. So if I tried to add it, it got an error and it missed it. But basically it was missing the game service. Obviously it's missing the game store as well. So I went and added those. And so that's the client side. Yeah, so did it add, was it missing on the client? Yeah, so it's missing the client game service as well as expecting to see. Right, because again, we're using the iGame service, and on the server side, and the startup on the server side, we're using the game service, which is the server side, talks to the database and all that stuff, talks to the game store in particular. And on the client side, we register with iGame service, the client game service. Of course, that talks to the controllers using HTTP. So all that is good, and I'm assuming it just built again without any errors. Nope, has 2 errors. Oh, apps running, yes it is. So, oh, my apologies. Yeah, all right, so that's fine. So let me go ahead and, so the first error that I got when it tried to build was because I was running the app. And so anyway, here it comes. Looks like no errors. Come over here, server error it says. Oh, that's because I actually went to error server, it redirected there. Okay, that was the first time. I just refreshed the same page because basically it got an error on the server and sent me to the error, server page, server error page. This looks all right. game and library. Cool. Need to register. If I'm trying to look at stuff, try to add library. I'm just trying to do anything with my personal stuff, and it wants to add it there. So that's good. If I go and actually change it to dark mode through the theme test that I have there, it's interesting that I thought it was setting to dark mode by default, but it obviously missed something there, which is fine. All right, so I'm going to go and actually create an account. All right. And I'm going to bring up Azure Storage Explorer and actually open that up. So I'm not bothering setting up an email on this to actually send me the email, but I don't need to. I'll just come over here and I'll show it here in just a second. And yeah, so basically in Azure Storage Explorer, this is the email that it would want to send. So I will take that, copy it, and paste that in. All right, and so now I'll log in. And I'm pretty sure I'll still need, even though I confirmed that, I think I need to set something in the database. I do, so let me go do that real quick. Again, this is all because I don't actually have email set up, and I'm going to go through the process of doing that right this second. So let's go to, let's see here. This was a SQLite database, right? So we'll just do it this way and say open database, and this was E2, and blah, blah, blah. Let's see, it was application, the NAP data, game vault. All right, so browse table, there we go. All right, so let's go with E is email confirmed to 1 there. Close that, and yeah. We'll log in. Okay, so games are not found, so I'll add first game. And I don't know what this is going to be. Let's see. Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And sure, Xbox library. Oh, I guess it is an action RPG. I don't know. We'll just say like 2023. It might have been 2024. I really don't know. We'll grab that at some point. Yet to play. I haven't played that particular one yet. So we'll just say add game. Let me go and actually find, let's see, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. Oh, it's 2021. Okay. Amazon. Cool. Images, IGDB. So I'm just going to use your thing at the moment. And let's say 2021. I think is what I said. Cool. And let's do add another one. This will be a wish list, and I don't know. We'll say Call of Duty Black Ops 23. Let's see, Black Ops, was it 7? Is that the latest one, I think? And again, we'll just do Xbox and first person shooter. And that was 2025. Let's see, Black Ops 7. Say copy image link. Sorry, Target, going to use yours for the moment. Nice. All right. So back to home in library. Yes, I have. That's, I mean, yeah, it's not bad for 15 minutes of work. Got a wish list. Home, library. Now, let's see. If I went to a wish list, what I'd like to do is turn around and say, this is no longer a wish list, but hey, it's in my library now. All right. Save changes. And now, if I go to wish list, nothing's there. Cool. So yeah, everything's working with the as expected. If I start this here and I'll say started and 12 hours. No, and it's a 10 out of 10, man. Save changes. All right, so it doesn't look like they're doing much with the in progress. I don't even know. Let me ask. Yeah, Claude was having some issues earlier. Oh, don't need you up there. So I'm going to say should, unless, let me just do a hard refresh here. Okay, yeah. So completed in progress, yet to play has nothing. And I said this was started, therefore should be in progress. Let's say, should I'll just say are completed in progress or yet to play. What the? I added the game with started, but all three show 0. So let's check the flow. It's having some issues with the tool calls. Oh wait, this is at the beginning, not the end here. Okay, so that shouldn't cause the issue, but we'll let you work. I didn't actually look to see how you wrote the code, but no, I'm still running you, so you're not going to be able to do it unless I kill you here. Oh, wait a minute. I should have looked at the error. That was actually the issue. So we had errors here, and I wasn't paying attention to the server logs. Let's see. Game stats. So that was exactly, looks like that was the actual error. So maybe they just fixed it. Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. So close that and run it again. And we'll go back over here, make sure it loads up over here. There we go. Now we have yet to play 1, and that's 1. Cool. Let's add another library. And let's see. Good simulator. And I have no idea what you can call that thing. It's just adventure. We'll say, I don't even know. And I'm not doing that either. We'll say 2020. let's say go simulator. Copy image link and there we go. Appreciate it, Moby Games and game. Cool. And we'll say completed and 30 hours. Great. All right. So now we go back. We see one's completed, one's in progress, one's yet to play. We'll say that started with 1 hour. Save changes. Now we have that. Yeah. So everything's working, you know, as expected. Super simple thing here. Could be cleaned up, but in a matter of 15 minutes, actually had something working. Plus the, we'll say, you know, after testing and everything, a few minutes here. So within a half an hour, like, you know, Game Vault is working. Things need to be cleaned up. It is interesting that it tried to get the vertical menu, but we actually have the horizontal menu here. And it tried to get it to start with dark mode, but it started in light mode to begin with. So a couple little things, but yeah, it's kind of nice. We'll just say ABCD and Steam add. Nice. So it shows everything together here. If I want to see just my wish list, I'll see that. If I want to see just library, I can see those. So yeah. So either way, that was DevNitro, a little short demo, but hopefully it's beneficial. And again, went from the first thing here at 302, came down till it kind of got, it finished up at 317, right? So 15 minutes. And then I came back at 318. Yeah, so I came back at 318 and I said, well, here's an error. And it found the server side issue and client issue of not doing the dependency injection correctly. So I forgot about that. So I cleaned that up and it finished that at 319. And then I start messing with it. And then about 3:30, about 10 minutes later, after me poking around, I realized that it wasn't showing the stats correctly, which if I looked at the terminal, it would have told me that there was some errors there. I didn't see it to begin with. So yeah, pretty happy with how that worked out. Again, that it decided to use SQLite. It did the database migrations itself and everything. Of course, it was a fresh migration, but even if it wasn't, we have database migrations built in here. And again, this is using Dapper, so I'm not using Entity Framework here. And this works with, of course, SQL Server, works with SQLite as we saw here, works with Postgres as well. So, well, I'm Chad Carter, helping .NET teams ship production apps faster. You already know what you're doing, so now go and ship it. And if this helps, you know the drill. Plus, you may want to go ahead and share this with a dev that you like. And I'll see you in the next video.